A little bit. Kathleen is back with us, and we're going to talk football now. Delighted to say Shebahn Aherne, football writer, is on the line. Morning, Shebahn.
Good morning, troops. How are we? You well?
We're great, and we're a little bit behind time, so apologies on that. But
Good.
we've loads to get to. What a weekend. We might start with tonight's game, the Merseyside Derby, and the chat around that they could outstrip the 27,000 that turned up for the Anfield leg last year, with maybe even 30,000 tonight. There'll be no Niamh Fahey, obviously. Will be a little bit of other Irish interest, obviously, on the other side. But in terms of a result, do you expect it to be the same as it was at Anfield, or how do you expect it to pan out?
Do you know what? Everton have been decent this season. Now, the last few weeks, things have started to dip ever so slightly. But what I'm most looking forward to is one of, this being the first game to kick off women's football weekend, to see how this will go second time round, because it was such a, at Anfield, the way it happened the first time round was a bit of a shock. So Everton, I think, will be cooking with gas this time round. And as the season's gone on, they've just progressed. They've become more of a gelled one team. But like I say, over the last couple of weeks, I would say it started to dip off slightly. So I'll be interested to see how that one goes. But big night at Goodison Park, a Friday night there. It's not a bad way to kick off women's football weekend.
Yeah, and I saw the Liverpool manager, with a little bit of reverse psychology going on. He said that they were that his own team obviously were frozen. They looked scared. The occasion got the better of us, and he was saying all that sort of in the context that I think Everton, all their fans at home, this could be them this weekend.
Listen, they're a solid team. They are solid, but Brian Sorensen's a good manager. He's, and the way Everton are this season to what they were last season is night and day. Even the way you can see the communication on the pitch is night and day to last season. I heard from a credible source that last season that dressing room was an awful place to be, and it's very, very different this time round. So credit to the job that Brian Sorensen's done. It's not an easy place to go, and he's got them playing better. But Liverpool quietly going about their business as well, picking up the odd points here and there. Matt Beard's experienced in this league, but going away to Goodison Park will be a right test for Liverpool.
Shebahn, do you think Everton might suffer a little bit, because obviously they've taken in a lot of young players? They have a couple of players on loan who are going to go back to bigger clubs afterwards. Are they building enough at this stage that they're going to be able to retain those players and keep them, or else attract similar sort of levels of players back into the club?
That's a good question. I mean, I think so. I think because of the job that's been done this season, you can view Everton through a different lens as you did last season. I was set, actually coming into this season, I said I wouldn't be surprised if Everton were relegated, because of the way that they did play and the atmosphere there last year. But you're right, the young players that they've got, they've got the most expensive European player in history in Hannon, who is just wonderful to watch. Young Jess Park there as well. Like Luna says, she's going to go back to Manchester City. So many young, talented players, the young twins as well. I've enjoyed watching them, I have to say. I think they're a promising bunch. Can he hold on to them? I think if they can just maintain mid-table, that's good. That will be a decent season for Everton based on what they did last season.
North London Derby tomorrow afternoon, and exactly I'm sort of tempted to ask you the same question in terms of the expected result out of it, but we'll hold on that for a second. Good performance, whatever about the result from Arsenal during the week in Munich, that might be enough for them now. It might give them enough belief, and Emma Byrne was saying during the week that they can win the Champions League, and it should nearly be the priority for them.
Do you know what? See, Emma Byrne, I love that. She was part of that team. She's been around for so much time. She's got so much experience. She knows this Arsenal team so well. Now living over here and turning on the commentaries, Emma Byrne is such a part of the WSL once again. I look at this Arsenal team now and I said, yes, at the start of the season, Arsenal can win the Champions League. I didn't, with Beth Mead and Viviana Miedema, and their ACL injuries and what they've gone through, I think they've missed. They're just not the same. They are not the same. You can't blame them for that. You've got to give them that injury grace. But I watched the Bayern game the other night and I was so frustrated by it. I was just like, oh, come on, in front of goal. I feel that Arsenal had been so wasteful in that game, and it was a good performance. I think the return leg at the Emirates on Wednesday I'll be going to. I think Arsenal can comfortably beat Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich are a solid squad, and the Germans, as we know, are just so efficient. But I look at that Arsenal side and I go, they should be able to get the job done, but there's something they're lacking. We know in front of goal, Stina Blackstenius has struggled. She's hit a bit of form recently. They've brought in Jodie Taylor. Obviously, Jodie can't play in the Champions League. But I just think in front of goal, I don't know if we could see Caitlin Ford maybe moving up there a little bit more, take the striker position, because that was what was just missing, on Wednesday night, was a goal from Caitlin Ford. I thought she had it in her. 10 minutes to go, I was going, Caitlin will score, this will happen, and they couldn't find the back of the net. So they've got a job to do on Wednesday, but I think Arsenal have enough to get over the line. But you look at the other teams that then they've to face, and without Vivianne Miedema, Beth Mead, your key goal scorers, I think Arsenal could struggle.
Did the WSL teams play with a little bit of fear in the Champions League in recent years, do you think, Shebahn? It's a lot of pressure, of course, and it's tough to, as we say, challenge on a couple of fronts, but sometimes you feel like if they just let themselves off the leash a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I still remember the Chelsea-Barcelona whooping that happened just a couple of years ago, and I didn't see that coming. I mean, you don't go up against Barcelona expecting to win anything, and you know that they're the best team in the world, one of the best teams. But I expected more from Chelsea in that day. But I guess that's the thing; they're missing these huge occasions. They haven't been to a final in quite some time. That actually, perhaps the occasion got the better of them on that day as well. And I think we were all surprised to see Chelsea be beaten 4-0 by Barcelona. I know I was shocked that day, especially inside the first half. It was a bonkers result. I look at Arsenal and I see, the experience in that squad, and then the youngsters coming through as well. And I don't know if that's the squad that can win the Champions League. Look at Emma Hayes' squad now. And I think we all know here, I follow Arsenal. I love Emma Hayes. I love Chelsea and what they do in women's football. But I want it so badly for Arsenal, but I just look at the momentum, the experience, how Chelsea are building and the players that they're recruiting. And I go, that's a Champions League winning squad. It could be their year.
It was funny watching Emma Hayes in the Champions League during the week. I don't think I've ever seen her that stressed on a touchline. And obviously they had a massive result against Lyon. It was good for them, especially when you look at the history they've had in the Champions League. One final question to you about Chelsea before we let you go, Shebahn. Millie Bright, she was going for a scan yesterday. Has there been any update on that? Because that could be a massive injury for Chelsea for the run-in.
I know. I mean, it could be a case of tired legs at this moment in time. I've been texting around my people and nobody's responding to me this morning about Millie Bright. There's been nothing put up on social media, nothing up through Chelsea as yet. So I am a bit concerned about that. Millie Bright on her Insta story looks happy enough. It looks like she's with one of our young family members and she looks in good spirits at the moment. So fingers crossed it was just a knock and it was a case of tired legs. They're playing a lot of football just now. They've got Manchester City at the weekend. If Millie Bright has sustained an injury, that would be a big loss for Chelsea. But I think for now it looks okay. I don't want to jinx that, but it looks okay.
I needed to ask you about Saint West and whether he was going to be turning up for the North London Derby this weekend. But
By the, can I just say, in our house, right, in our group, I am the biggest Kim Kardashian fan. Think of me what you want, I don't care. I will go there for my escapism week in. Honestly, and when Katie sent me a message saying, Shebahn, you'll never believe who's at the Emirates tonight. And I went to sleep. I didn't reply. And then I woke up and I'd seen all the screenshots of Saint West wearing the McCabe top. And I literally nearly died. And Katie doesn't watch the Kardashians. I think she only hears about the Kardashians through having to listen to me talking about it. So nobody was more excited about that than I was. But I've DM'd Kim for a play date and see if she wants to meet up. Funnily enough, she's not got back to me.
Not yet. Thanks a million, Shebahn. Enjoy the football over the weekend.
Have a good one. Thanks, guys.